Hello, all Hoosier fans, Hoosier haters, and everyone in between. This is the Crimson Coliseum podcast. And on today's episode, we're going to be celebrating the Hoosiers win over the Charlotte 49ers 52 to 14. I've got Eleanor back with me
Hi, it's me.
and eat me greedy. But Indiana got a really good win. Right now, they're sitting basically 27th of the second best team out of the second most votes received, not making the poll. I think they're like 5 votes away from the AP poll.
Mhm.
So that's where Boise State's at right now, is 25th. So pretty good.
Hmm.
Um, so how did you think the show went? Because like I watched it earlier today and I really liked it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. There was definitely a lot of worries the night before about drill because every day that week the crab band, which is the
Hmm.
soccer band, had been gone for some or all of practice. So a large chunk of the band didn't have as much time to sort of get the drill under their feet. And there were also a lot
That
of concerns with this. Yeah, there were also a lot of
that
concerns with the
crustacean
heat.
noises.
Crab, 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 crab. Um, there was also a lot of concerns with the heat because there were a lot of people who had very bad response to the heat and the sun and the humidity
Hmm.
because it had just rained the night before. And so there were some people who had to sit out of halftime um, because the heat was so strong and the elements were kind of stacked against us there. So yeah, I think a
Yeah,
lot of people were really worried going into that halftime show, but I also thought it turned out really good. I thought
yeah,
the Red Stepper.
yeah, you guys crushed it. I like the song by Aaliyah.
Mhm.
I can't remember what that one's called, but I really like that one. That's probably your best one of the three.
Yeah, the red stepper feature was absolutely great. I love the part where one of the red steppers is like used as a limbo bar and they like pick her up
Yeah,
and drag her across the I thought that was
yeah,
really fun.
that was really funny. That yeah. I thought it was really cool that you guys paid tribute to not just Grace Berger, because it's gonna be just very easy to do Grace Berger and then Mackenzie Holmes
Hmm.
for the Storm, but you did Grace Berger, Aaliyah Boston, and Caitlin Clark, which was probably the most controversial just because of our rivalry with Caitlin Clark. But
Hmm.
just as I've
But we
always
loved her now.
been, yeah, Caitlin Clark was the enemy about uh
4 months ago, maybe 5.
6 months ago. 6 months ago, she was the enemy.
6 months.
Yeah, a
What
little
month
over
is it?
six. It's
August.
September. It's September. September 2024, Eleanor.
What?
We're getting older.
No. Yeah.
We're growing out of our childhood YouTube channels and they're getting canceled.
No. The how did you think the pregame went?
Um, I couldn't watch pregame because like they don't have like a view of pregame.
Hmm.
And I don't think Russell P. Hart. I don't think he actually uploaded pregame. I think
Hmm.
what he's doing is he's only uploading the pregame for the first game and then uploading all the shows, I think.
Yes,
But
whoever Russell may be.
I think it was a former director.
That would make sense.
But or director or drum major, one of the two. I remember Smedley was talking about it last year. But the new pregame, I like the new pregame.
Mhm.
Um, I think even though I understand why Alma Mater is liked and I understand why it was in, it was probably going to be the one of the hardest to clean good because you're just huffing and puffing and then you have to do a very, very slow melodic song after. And
Right.
that
Plus
and that
it doesn't really fit with the whole like football
hmm
hyping everybody up kind of theme. So I get why
I,
they subbed it out.
yeah, I kind of wish you guys did something different other than Seven Nation in that spot, but that's just me.
Yeah. I mean it's good for low brass because it's
Mhm.
very easy, but
Yeah. But and I said this I think 2 weeks ago after the Western Illinois game. Whether it's whenever the defense comes on the field or something, you guys got to implement hoist the colors again. Like make it like make some adjustments to it so everyone can play it, but whenever the trombones play that the second half of Hoist the Color, that main melodic line,
Mhm.
chef's kiss, that is beautiful. Uh, but overall, how have you felt about the just the season marching wise? Because I haven't talked to you yet about since the women's basketball preview.
Yeah, I felt pretty good. I feel like morale is a lot higher than we thought it would be because, I mean, with 8 home games, you kind of expect that everyone's going to be super tired and, overworked or whatever. But
Hmm.
I feel like they've been doing a good job pacing people thus far.
Yeah, that
You
yeah, I
know,
think it. Um, I I've liked the shows so far, the first couple, and hopefully the whenever I get up there for homecoming, the do you know what's the fourth song is? Have they shown that for homecoming?
I do not know. No.
Come on, get on it. I want to know. I want to have answers. I want pictures of Spider-Man. But yeah, it's been I've really liked what you guys have been doing so far, and you guys are going to keep it up, and you're going to be great going to the end of the season. And hopefully, if you guys go to a bowl game, get a rocket there.
We're 4/6 of the way there.
Yeah, going back. Yeah, good transition in the game. We're now 4-0. Good win, 52 to 14. Just for some stats, real quick. Curtis Rourke led the way passing wise, 16 to 20, 258 yards and a touchdown, and added 4 rushes, 32 yards and a touchdown. Uh, I was a little concerned on his touchdown run for a little bit. I think sometimes he needs to learn to slide.
I
He needs to learn to slide just because
don't want to
I
get
can
hurt.
just I can just I can just see it coming. He needs to slide, slide, slide. Penix never did it. Yeah. Uh, and just please. How'd you think about Rourke yesterday?
I thought he did pretty good. I definitely think the second half things really took off, like
Hmm.
in general. Also, I always forget that his first name is Curtis because I don't know how, he does not look like a Curtis. Um, yeah,
He's
I thought
Canadian.
he did pretty good. I think I think the bigger amount of concerns people had were like on the other end of the ball, but
Yeah, yeah, we'll get to that.
yeah.
Yeah, rushing the ball. The rushing attack has been their usual selves. Three guys had really good games. Justice Ellison, 9 for 58 and a
Oh,
touchdown.
he had a great game.
Yeah, Kalon Black finally reaches the end zone, 7 for 55 and a touchdown. And then Tyson Lawton, 7 for 35 and 2 touchdowns. Rushing attack was balanced as it always is. 6 rushing touchdowns among 5 players. I think the last one was Elijah Green too, who had a touchdown to close out the game. But it's just been consistent. Rushing attack has been consistently even.
Yeah,
Uh,
I feel like some people kind of are like waiting for the other shoe to drop. They're like waiting for us to play like we did last year, and I feel like I don't know. I mean, we'll see with the Maryland game, but as of now, it seems like things are really, really changed.
yeah, like I've said it a couple times already on here, but the way Indiana responded during the UCLA game, I have a
Mhm.
lot more confidence in this team than previous seasons.
Yes. Yeah, other seasons it was like, can we win 5 games? And then this one, it's like, what bowl game will we be going to?
Yeah,
That's kind of
I'm still cautious. I'm
at
always
least
going to
us
be
as fans.
Yeah, I'm still very, very cautious with this team at the moment. Um, but with the rushing attack the way it is, I said it on the preview, is whoever's going to rush the ball better is going to win this game. IU just ran it down their throats. Um, and I think doubled up on rushing yards. Well, close to it, just nearly 70 more, but uh, but also a good compliment for the receiving game. We got Miles Price 3 for 77, and then Keyshawn Williams 4 for 46 and a touchdown. I think I heard a stat whenever he got his touchdown, he had 5 receptions and 3 of them were touchdowns. He's just
Dang.
he seems like he's gonna be the red zone threat. Just gonna just easily get. catches and touchdowns. But there's also Elijah Surratt had a good game too. But I mean, it's Waffle House. He's always open. It's just going to be a fact of life. He's going to get good catches.
Mhm.
Yeah, how do you feel about our receivers 4 weeks in? How do you feel about them?
I think they're good for the most part. There's not been too many situations where, they've missed a catch or they've caught something and dropped it immediately. Like, there's not really been too much of that this year. Um, yeah, it feels like they've been fairly consistent, a pretty good threat on offense.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah,
wasn't this game, but
it's just the offense has just been superb. 202 points, which is through 4 games, which is IU was the first program to actually reach 200 points this season,
yeah,
and it's the most points in through 4 games in program history, I believe. And also, the way this game ended, it's the second time in over 100 years that Indiana has won 4 games in a row by 20 or more points.
yeah. So,
The last one was
not to mention, I mean,
1990.
mm, yeah, not to mention the like highest scoring game of program
Yeah.
history. Like, they're literally record breaking offensively. So
Yeah.
I feel like a
And
broken record being like offense good, but like
it
they're
just
really
is.
good this year.
Yeah, and they're going to be in a good competition with another good offense in Maryland, which we'll get into later this week. But the defense is going to have their hands full. Speaking of defense, uh, Aiden Fisher led the way with 8 tackles and 1 solo tackle. Sean Asbury had 7 tackles, 4 solo, and a key tackle for loss on a fourth down. Uh, Jamari Sharp, I am going to give him a big shout out. Whenever D'Angelo Pons was out for the first half because of the targeting penalty,
Mhm.
he had 5 tackles, 2 for solo, and 4 passes defended.
Yeah. And I
So
didn't I did notice that it seemed like we were playing better after he came back in. So,
yeah, and it's just because whenever you have Sharp there, there's just whenever you have Pons there, he's a freshman All-American, really
mhm.
good corner. You don't have to help as much on one receiver, on the top guy to help out your teammate, and it just doesn't leave up as much openings everywhere else. It just is what it is.
Mhm.
Mario Landino, speaking of freshmen, Mario Landino had a 1 tackle solo, a tackle for loss, and a forced fumble. But he had a couple of pressures. Whenever I was watching the game on BTN through the Fox Sports app,
Mhm.
um, they were talking about Landino having all conference potential, and I agree with that. And the guy
Yeah.
that picked up the fumble recovery, Bryson Bonds, also added 3 tackles to that. And defense struggled they had some struggles. I knew they were going to struggle a little bit in the passing game, obviously without Pawns. And Charlotte had a good passing attack, but it just wasn't great.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, on the upside, that seems to be the thing that like everyone's been saying so far. So hopefully that means that that's something they'll get the chance to work on more this
Hmm.
week as they get ready for Maryland to come in, because Maryland's probably the biggest challenge so far.
To this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, until Nebraska comes to town, it's going to be the biggest challenge.
Hmm. And
Uh,
Nebraska might just be the biggest challenge. I don't know.
Ohio State's going to be the hardest game of the season. It just is what it is.
Hmm.
But at home, and also Michigan's going to be good. I think
Yeah.
we were all overreacting over Michigan. That's gonna still going to be a good game.
Hmm.
Just going to Charlotte real quick before we get too off the rails. Uh, Trexler Ivy was the leading passer for them, and their only passer. 14 to 23, 119 yards and a touchdown. Rushing the ball, Cartavion Norton, 11 rushes for 58 yards. And the CJ Stokes had the 1 touchdown, 5 for 25. And then receiving, Jarius Mack, 3 receptions for 36 yards, and Isaiah Myers, 1 reception for 25 yards and a touchdown. Uh, it just is what it is. Contavious Norton had like a good couple of runs there in the third that got me concerned. but we were able to force a turnover on downs, and all is well and good there. Then defensively, Mordecai McDaniel, 5 tackles, 4 solo, and a half tackle for loss. The Donovan Spellman, 2 tackles, 1 solo, 1 half tackles for loss, and a sack. And that sack was at the end of the game whenever we were just killing the clock and had Taven Jackson in.
Right.
Yeah, it's just you beat a team by nearly 40. There's not much to say on their end.
Respectfully,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, and just go over some team stats. Indiana had 68 plays, 27 passing, 41 rushing, which honestly seems more of the trend. Where a rush first, pass, well, I wouldn't say rush first, pass to take the lead, rush to keep it type of team.
Right.
510 total yards, 288 passing, 222 rushing, 4 for 10 on third down, two for three on fourth down, and then 3 penalties for 33 yards. And the ball's on Kurt Signetti to go for it twice on fourth down when the game was already over is honestly, I'm here for it. He is not changing his philosophy even if we're leading.
Yeah. Which I do think is good because there's nothing more frustrating than choking a solid lead.
Yeah, ask the Falcons. That's just that. And then for Charlotte, they had 56 plays, uh, 23 passing, 33 rushing, 256 total yards, 119 passing, 155 rushing. 5 for 13 on third downs, 1 for 3 on fourth downs, and then 7 penalties for 51 yards. This was just pure domination in just every sense of the word. Uh, it was actually pretty even time of possession, mainly because Indiana was scoring so fast.
Hmm.
The passing attack is just, it's crazy. If the O line can just keep giving Rourke some time, he's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good season. Uh,
Let him go.
let him cook. I saw this. I saw this thing on Twitter. I think it was Moose. It was this guy named Moose on Twitter. He did he did a whole thing with the chef from the Muppets
Swedish chef.
reacting, the sous chef from the Muppets reacting to the game in his accent, and then just replied with "Let him cook," and it's Curtis Work with a chef's hat on.
That's great.
Yeah, I Twitter is just unmatched. Just for some pros and cons on my end, the Rourke was super efficient. Uh, Shout out Jamari Sharp being able to play well despite Pons being absent. Um, Signetti is the first coach in program history to start his time in Indiana with going 4-0.
Hmm.
There were 3 other coaches that started 3-0. I think Mallory, uh, Hepner, and Bill Lynch. And then and Signetti is the first one to win the fourth game. O line is still super dominant. Only 3 tackles for loss the entire game and 1 sack allowed. Take those. And penalties, a lot better today. Gonna keep an eye on that. And I also forgot to mention the defense finally got a stop before the end of the half. What are we living in? The dark ages? Yeah, what do you think were some good pros and cons? Well, pros. Then we go into cons.
Definitely, I think attendance was a lot better, at least towards the start of the game, and the crowd had a lot more energy, which I'd say
Hmm.
was definitely a good pro on the side of the band because it made it a lot more fun to play for them.
Yeah.
We also added new stand tunes, which that was really fun.
Ooh, what you
Um,
had?
we added "Freedom" by Beyonce, which
Oh,
that one is really good. And we also added "Million Dollar Baby," which we only got to play that once. We played it towards the end, but the part for that one sounds really good.
also, did you guys play Mr. Brightside at all? If
No,
you can remember. Okay.
D-
Because
the DJ might have played it, but
because the announcers were saying, "Hey, that's a Michigan thing." I'm like, ugh. But also, just going with the announcers, they were actually much better than last week.
Mhm.
Um, Lewis was the sideline reporter, and he was an IU grad. So like Red Lewis showed the broadcast crew around, and apparently his jersey's retired at Knicks.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's
Should
always
film
good
his
to
full
see.
segment at Nick's. The
Uh
I think I was watching a Packers game, or no, is the Eagles game. One of the announcers referenced the
oh oh yes,
UCLA game.
Joe. Okay, so Joe Buck went to Indiana, and Troy Aikman went to UCLA. So Joe Buck attempted. Keyword is attempted. The IU fight song.
I heard a line, and it was funny because I was like absent-mindedly watching it while I was playing The Sims, and then I heard him sing the IU fight song, and I like snapped back to reality. I was like, "What in the world's going on here?" I
Yeah,
thought I hallucinated it for a second. I was like,
yep.
"Man, really, I've been working hard at band."
Whenever like an IU player does well, Troy Aikman, and on Monday Night Football, Troy Aikman just does a little shot at Joe Buck here and there.
That's great.
But
Okay.
to go into cons, Signetti mentioned at the beginning, before the game during the week, that we had to avoid a letdown game. It seemed
Mhm.
like defense had a little bit of a letdown game. First half, just not good defensively.
Mhm.
A lot of wide open guys. That I have some concerns because we like bust coverage just a little bit. Defense are able to offense like the receivers are able to get in the soft zones, and I think a problem is that the D line is way too aggressive, and I like the aggressiveness sometimes, but getting vertical again, they mentioned a ton on the broadcast. When they get vertical, they just go right by the gaps where the running back goes through, and usually it's a 5 minimum 5 yard game whenever that
Right.
happens.
Work smarter, not harder, etc.
Yeah, but and the attendance, and you said it was better, but it's still not.
A lot of people left.
Yeah, and like it's understandable with how hot it was.
It was like 94.
Yeah, but I think it might be raining next week.
Yeah, which I
I
think might
think
be better. I don't know.
better than 90 degrees, let's be honest.
Yeah,
Uh,
my baritone needs cleaned anyway.
but we've got like if it is raining, that actually might actually help IU a ton because whenever it's raining, you go to the running game more for next week.
Hmm.
And the thing with Maryland, what I saw, they're literally carried by one quarterback receiver connection. That's it. I can't remember the dude's name.
Fighting
I
words
think
there.
Ty Felton. He's the starting receiver. I think he has over 600 receiving yards.
That sounds right.
Yeah, already. And the quarterback has like he's leading the conference in passing yards, but like half of them are to that one guy.
So
So
if they go
whenever it's
ahead.
a rainy day in October in Bloomington, Indiana, the passing game is harder.
Oh yeah, it'll be October. That's great. Or
Yeah,
almost October. The
Tuba.
yeah, it kind of sounds like if they're able to shut down that dynamic, I think they'll be a lot better off. If they're able to hold
Yeah,
that guy to fewer yards.
yeah. And we have we'll have D'Angelo Pawns all game, so
Hmm.
um, and we'll probably have like Amari Farrell to keep keep at it like as a set as a help guy. But Amari Farrell's honestly been really really good this year. So and that's what we're really impressed with at the Rover. But probably for my offensive player of the game, it's obviously gonna be Curtis Rourke again. Super 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 efficient. 16 for 20, 258. Has two total touchdowns. Defensively, I'm going to give it to Jamari Sharp for stepping in for Pawns. And the special teams, still Radicic. It's still Radicic. Uh, Made all seven his PATs, made a field goal. I think he's 2 for 2 on field goals. So we're good there. It's just we haven't needed to score many. We haven't needed to go for many field goals. But um, we also recorded the women's basketball episode, preview episode for the season. So I wanted to ask you about that
Mhm.
since you were on the preview. Have you seen the schedule? And if you have, what do you think of it?
I have not seen the schedule yet. Yeah, they did announce recently like how many
Like, yeah.
people are in the women's band and like who specifically is in the women's band. And we've got kind of a full house there, at least for
Mhm.
baritone. I think we've got like 7 or 8 baritones alone, which given that we have less overall this year is actually really good. So I am very excited on the band front of things, but I have not looked at the schedule yet, unfortunately.
So yeah, some big games. Obviously, the Battle for Atlantis, the November 23rd to 25th. Stanford at home, November 17th.
Hmm.
Um, first Big Ten games at Penn State, December 7th. First home game for Big Ten is versus Wisconsin, December 28th. Uh, January 12th is at Iowa. January 19th at home against USC.
Hmm.
The break games, I think, are going to be versus Bellarmine, versus Oakland, versus Wisconsin, and versus UCLA. Got four good games there. Uh, at Purdue on March 2nd is the last game of the year, and then versus Maryland is on February 27th is senior night. So
It's gonna be interesting playing all the teams that like are kind of synonymous with certain WNBA players. Like it's gonna be weird playing Iowa without Caitlin Clark there, or Stanford without Cameron Brink there.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
I think a lot of people think they know how certain teams are going to perform based off how they did last year, but there's been kind of a shakeup, like noticeable shakeup for every team in terms of the
yeah,
roster and who they got and who got transferred. So,
yeah. And Cindy Parrish gets two homecomings this year.
ooh.
November 13th at Butler, and then where is it? January 24th at Oregon.
Hmm.
So that'll be fun. But that's going to be it for today. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, share on all platforms, and just ask all your friends. Why is it that we can't get why can't we just have a consistently civil IU discussion these days? Thank you all for watching.